call our TB Scott Library November 20th meeting to order. Do you have any correspondence you'd like to share with us?
Not today.
And public comment, I don't see anybody. What's your pleasure on the minutes from the November 20th meeting?
Motion to approve that.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the minutes. Any discussion, questions, comments? All in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They are approved. Your pleasure on the vouchers for November.
You need a motion? I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second to approve the vouchers for November. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They are approved. What's your pleasure on the monthly income and expense report for November? Motion?
Second.
Cool. Now you can talk.
You keep it up.
I am.
Okay. Motion made and second. Any comments?
Yes, please. Just a couple of questions on what is numbered as page 61. Under supplies and expenses, we don't even want to talk about the HVAC stuff because blah, blah, blah. And so I'm just looking down the percentage of budget line, and the office supplies, that can be variable all over the place, but I'm kind of curious about how membership dues shot up to 134%, because those are sort of, we can predict those, they're calculable, and then we go down a little farther to the publicity, public relations and publicity, where it's 157%, and keep going farther down to hospitality, which is 179%. They're not huge numbers when you look at the dollar numbers, but I'm curious as to what is pushing the budget alterations for not the office supplies, but the membership, the public relations, and the hospitality, because I think it almost seems like there's a connection there. So do you have any sense of what's pushing that?
So the membership dues, that's just some of the increases and being able to attend some of the conferences, you have to pay the memberships, so we've had some increased memberships in that respect.
But we didn't budget for them?
We didn't know it from you.
We budgeted for a certain amount, and we know we have to increase because of those memberships, because we're part of the ALA in order to file for some grants.
But when we did the budget, don't we factor in a likely increase already? And so I guess the question I'm asking is about the budgeting process, not the expenditure, which is how
We
did you
didn't
not
take
guess?
into account the membership in the ALA. So we have memberships for the WLA, but one of the grants that
Was it different? Okay.
it was a different organization, so we had to
I get
pay,
it.
in order to apply for that grant, we had to be a member.
Because we don't usually
Yeah.
actually buy the ALA membership, I recall that now.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about the publicity and the hospitality?
Well, the hospitality has to do with we have our staff meetings and we have staff development. So the cost, for some of the luncheons, that comes out of hospitality.
So that's hospitality for staff.
For staff.
About the retirement party.
That was from the, that was from,
That's just okay.
that's different, that's separate.
And
And then the public relations and publicity, we did some additional publicity. Some of that came from the grant, some of that was refunded through the grant. And I have a feeling, I'm just looking at that right now, it could be that some of the amounts didn't get.
well, I'm just wondering if that's like local publicity, like does this reflect market pressures from local media outlets, or is this something that's coming?
The increase is coming, so a lot of the ads that we place for our programming, those little guides that we have done, that has increased tremendously through all news. Yeah, we've seen, and that's been pretty,
Yeah, but
and we've tried to keep in line with it, or tried to budget, but
right. This is not in any way connected, though, to city publicity efforts,
No.
given that there's increased public relations actions going on at City Hall. But they're not requiring us to participate in that. This is totally
No.
separate.
Yes.
So this is most likely that local media outlet
Yes.
issue.
Yes. Yeah, and it's unfortunate, the cost, we've seen a significant cost increase, and it is specifically for, ads.
Which, and
A picture of us, and.
I've noticed that they have not been publishing the press releases
No.
that you've been sending to
The
them.
only,
And yeah.
they have indicated to us that the only way they will guarantee that the press release will be placed is if we pay for it.
Okay, that's what I wanted to just know if there was a
Yeah,
connection there.
Yeah.
Great, thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, I got a motion made and seconded to approve the unaudited income and expense report for November. Any other discussion? All in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Monthly statistical report. Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the monthly statistical report for November. Any discussion?
I just want to point out that games usage went up 100% from the comparable month last year. And magazines continues to go up, although interestingly enough, not the e-magazines on Libby. But magazines, ever since you started swinging them from library to library, they're doing better than just about anything else. So weird as all get out, but go gamers, right?
Any other discussion? All in favor of approval of the statistical report for November, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. All right, action item. Endowment fund request for $24,000. I'll entertain a motion for approval to start with.
I make that motion. Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve to consider the $24,000 request for, from the endowment fund. Your presentation, please.
All right. So, we have the need to get some better equipment here so that we can better maintain and better report to the state various things. As I had indicated, the security gate that we had in place for materials and as a people counter, it was no longer repairable. Had to be removed because it was interfering with many things. It also wasn't necessarily ADA compliant. So that had been removed, and we have not had anything since then except this little box on the side of the wall that has often failed as a patron counter and has not been real effective. While we allow our patrons to believe there is a security system in place, I know it just. And there is to some degree, it's just not as effective as it used to be. And so we need to make sure that we have an effective system in place for, state reporting purposes. We also need to make sure that we can properly inventory the materials that we have here in the library. An inventory of this library probably has not been done completely in roughly 20 years. I could guess how many materials are here in the library, but I couldn't guarantee it. And they have much better equipment that makes it, once a system is in place, makes it easier to adequately inventory the equipment or the materials in the library, much simpler than what it has been. I've done the old-fashioned way for years as a school librarian, and it's quite labor-intensive. This new system will allow us to do it much more quickly. You still a lot of checks and balances in between there, but the equipment is not cheap. So we are looking at a project cost of roughly just over $35,000. It could be quite a bit more. We had 3 different quotes. The company out, Minnesota, thank you. Minnesota.
That place.
Yeah, that way, Minnesota. And they're nearby, and we we've had some good conversations with them and with other places that have utilized their facility and their company. Therefore, my recommendation is to go with Technologic. Our budget can accommodate the purchase of the security gate and patron traffic counter. My intent or the project kind of timeline is to put that gate and patron counter in shortly after the first of the year. And with that being phase 1, and then phase 2 would take place, that would be the RFID system. That is a lot of manual labor initially. It takes, we would have to tag every single item here in the library, and that will be done with staff and volunteers. They will train us, work with us, they give us carts in order to make that take place. It's roughly, it could take a couple of months to do it. But it's something that is well worth the project initially. And those that volunteer, there will be food and beverages. So,
Our hospitality will go up.
yeah, yes, my hospitality will go up.
It will.
So it is something that I strongly believe the library should have in place for the size of the library. We have we have 2 levels, and trying to maintain, making sure that things don't walk out the door by mistake. This is definitely something that we should invest in.
And it's really no surprise, we've been talking about it for us old people for quite a few years, that we need to do something. Us who have been on the board a while. By the way, what? Been on a while? I think so, right? I'm the last one, because I
Yeah,
didn't realize that.
yeah. You're it.
I gotta get off now. Anyway, any other discussion?
Couple of things.
Yes.
So first of all, I think some of our partner libraries have already gone to this system.
Right.
Do you know who has?
So, Anago is already, MCPL does,
Okay.
and that is one of the reasons why I went with the company we did, the company they did, they've had some issues with. And I think Rhinelander, I know and there are other libraries, I've talked with libraries out of Door County. They have them in place. They've all talked about how labor intensive it is going to be to set it up. They have guaranteed that. And so I'm prepared for that, trying.
Well, I made the motion and I'm in favor of this and I'm going to vote for it because I think it is not going to get cheaper as we go forward. And yeah, the inventory structure, it's way overdue. We didn't do it when I was here and it hadn't been done. Family members going back and tell me that it hasn't been done for a long time. The one thing I do want to say to the board, you laugh about the hospitality budget, but actually, you're probably going to want to plan an extra expense in here, I would guess, because as much as I love the idea of food and beverage for volunteers, the one thing I did not say about the statistical report is you've watched the volunteer hours over the last year. They have dropped. This month, they are down 11% over this month last year. And that's partly because your volunteers tend to be the older members in the community, and even as our community is getting older, so more of us are older, those are also the people who are less and less inclined to do things. I think that you would not be crazy if you planned in the need for a temp staff to try to literally pay people to do that in order to get it done before the end of the year. So it's not in this budget, this request, it would be a separate request, but don't be surprised, everybody, if in order to make this happen, because I just don't know that we can do it as a volunteer project. That was my one concern about the proposal is, gosh, it would be so nice, but we don't seem to be living in a volunteer world
Well,
anymore.
I can tell you that when we went to the company, they were pay people to come in to do it, but we would have been paying them $60,000.
Yeah, that's too much, right? The hospitality
Yeah.
budget might have enough in there.
No, if we
But-
were to have paid them, it would have costed us an additional $60,000 just for them to do it for us.
Did they have a man-hour estimate?
Do they what?
Do they have an estimate on how many hours it's gonna take?
They must have some.
They,
kind of-
I did not get that in the quote, the number of hours.
If we make job offers, temporary job offers to high school students, we might convince high school students to come back to the library. Just a thought, but don't be surprised, as I say, if, in order to get this done on time, because managing volunteers, it's a lot of extra time for you, and it doesn't necessarily go consistently and at a pace. So, that's all, but I absolutely think that we gotta get this done sooner rather than later. It's way overdue.
Any other discussion?
So the inventory includes books, magazines, everything?
Everything, DVDs,
Furniture.
library things, not the furniture,
Yeah, furniture.
that would only be, that this particular system would simply be the materials that are checked in and out of the library.
Would you have to put barcodes on every item?
Yes, basically it is, it's a tag that has to go on every single item, yes. Kind of looks like a,
It looks like it looks like a micro SD.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of what it looks like, yeah.
And then record what it is.
Yeah, categories.
It's like putting a chip in your dog.
Yeah.
But once you do that, the benefit is when you're doing the inventory, you can literally go down the line and tap the items
Right.
on the shelf with a scanner, and it scans them like that.
Yes.
And that's the speed of the inventory, right?
The previous inventory was out of date or not done completely? or
Here, I don't know that we've ever done one.
Yeah,
It's-
Never really had done one.
yeah,
We use it, you did a little bit with the card catalog, the old manual card
Yeah,
catalog.
yeah.
But that's,
But we have approximately 2 million items in this library. So that's a whole lot of, am I wrong on that number? That's about what I believe Stacy said when I first started working here.
could be, I don't know, because they're all, I know, there are way too many for me to count.
You think
Run
that's an
out of
outrageous
fingers and
number,
toes.
but you know what, there's just a
Well,
whole
and
lot.
that just makes it seem impossible to do with strictly volunteers. There's no way. I mean, I'm all about volunteering, but,
Yeah, that's
and there's a
why,
lot at stake. You want it done right. You want it done in a timely manner.
And I mean, I did talk with, a couple of the other libraries that have done it. I mean, some of them paid, but the majority of them had volunteers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
that's okay, Wausau has a different population.
Right.
It's bigger, there's more opportunity, but just be prepared is all I'm saying is we may have to put something else in our budget at some point in the future to make sure it's done properly.
any other discussion?
You might get us through high school kids if you,
Yeah.
if you made it.
Well, I would probably reach out to their career center.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would definitely,
well, I mean, if it's flexible, right? Because a lot of kids are involved in so much. So
Right.
If you had opportunities where you
yeah.
That's a
taught them,
good point.
you taught them how to do it,
They could come in whenever.
and they could come in and
I got 2 high school kids that would do it, they could do it, here, there, and everywhere.
just,
Gotta keep those
to
kids
get,
busy, huh?
that's a,
That's not a problem, but.
the problem with the high school is like the schedule.
Mhm.
It's a different schedule now, so you
Right.
you're locked in only certain times.
Right.
But if you had the opportunity to give them different times, you might get a,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Any other comments? All in favor of approval of the 24,762 requests from the endowment fund, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's approved, thank you. And I'm sure Lori thanks you.
Yes, thank you.
The Zander Board Trust Resolution.
Are we on Xander, or first doing just the,
We have an endowment fund, just the general endowment fund first.
Oh, okay,
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
Nope.
Oh, I see
right,
what I checked off. Getting old. It's basically what we do right now, except it's being formal, and we're gonna try to get 2 more people access to the records not to do any transactions with the endowment fund. Just, like it says, communicate and log in. And I think we should be able to get that done. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the endowment fund resolution granting account access authority. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now the TV Scott Lodge, I mean the Xander one, which is similar.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the Xander account access authority resolution. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Discussion on the endowment fund of the Xander Trust. Where do you want to start?
I can start. So, for several years, the auditors for the city of Merrill have had some questions about how the Xander Trust is set up and the accounting of it. Emily, the finance director, has contacted us and has asked us to look through it to make sure that we are set up properly based upon statutes, and so that right now there's some discrepancies in how it is set up. We met earlier today with Emily and Tom Hayden and Mike and Darcy and I, and we will be moving forward to work with an attorney and to make certain that the Xander Trust account set up with Edward Jones is set up properly. There's some naming issues with it right now, the way it stands, that needs to be set up. We also need to set up a formal trust agreement, which will also be done. And once we've met with the attorney, we'll have better information to share with the board, and have a better idea of what direction we will, what we will need from the board for approval, etc. Mike?
We got the money, it's taken care of very well. We just need paperwork, so it's like some of those other jobs, nothing's done until the paperwork is finished, so that's what we need to do, is get it documented on what we've been doing correctly. For instance, what we're using the money for, where the investments are and all that kind of stuff. We need documentation to show the auditors, and right now we're just doing it because that's the way we do it.
Have you dipped into this yet?
Pardon me?
Have you dipped into this trust fund yet?
So,
Uses yet? Have you used it yet?
The Xander Trust, only the income off of it.
Okay.
yeah, only the interest, that's,
It's like-
and that's been, yeah, I mean, that's been the past practice, that was the intent, and that's been past practice. However, it has not been put into writing. So that is what they are asking that we do, and so that is what we are going to work on.
How long has it been?
Pardon?
How long has it been?
2009.
And I'm assuming procedures have changed since then,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
just required or
it
whatever.
wasn't done
Yeah,
right away.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
and
that's
we're so, yeah, and we've done our best to navigate that. And, I mean, we know what the intent is just we need to now get it in writing. And it started, I think this discussion started sometime back in 2019, and it's still been kind of up there. And we just finally need to, yeah.
This is separate from the endowment fund.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we have an endowment fund, and then we have the Xander Trust Fund.
Any questions or comments? I just want to overemphasize, there's nothing wrong, it's just all we need is paperwork.
Yeah,
Nobody's suspecting of anything.
we're doing it right, we just need to have it in writing. And just,
All righty. I
Yeah.
don't think we need a motion on that, do we?
Nope, no,
Okay.
it's just to inform the board.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Discussion about strategic goals and objectives. And again, you guys do a fantastic job in recording it all. Congratulations, thanks. Any other discussion on that? And then the library director certification and hope she passes her test. How do you have to do that? Every couple of years?
Yeah.
5 years?
5 years, I have so many credits,
Continuing education.
continuing education credits, yeah.
All righty, and your report, please.
Just a few things going on. I mentioned the holiday closures coming up. Everything else just kind of shows up on our events page. We're working really hard, as I mentioned. In the strategic goals and objectives, we are working on our blog post on the website, making sure that things are, updated and current. We're focusing on that with a little bit of marketing, a little bit more. Our WVLS representative, I know we've had some issues with that, and she has resigned. They are working on her replacement at this time, so
Who appoints her?
that is done. The WVLS board, they will go out and seek someone to fulfill her position, so. And I've given her a couple of names of people in the area.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, do we,
Yeah,
I guess that was my question, do we
Yeah,
get
I can
involved?
give-
Okay,
I can give her some
yeah, good.
suggestions, whether they take them or not, it's entirely up to them. Friends, they're on hiatus, they flew the coop, went south, where it's much warmer, thank you with me. And just a little bit about our project, they are working on getting things set up in the youth services department. Like I said, you'll see things being moved around. They are still ready for January. I haven't heard anything further. The end of January, they're still ready to start. We've ordered all of the cabinetry and doors and things of that nature, so that is coming into play.
Where do we start that?
The what?
Whatever's coming.
Oh,
Aren't
well,
they here yet?
that's not here yet. We have it all ordered, and that's why we had to order it now, so it's here in time.
Yeah, but you don't think we're gonna get it ahead of time by much?
No, and the contractor has storage. I mean, the materials will stay with them until they're ready to be put in place here. So, staffing report. We do have someone that is going to start on Monday. He's going to put in one day and then take a couple of days off, So, Chris Hartwig, as I mentioned in my report, he's a retired Merrill PD officer. Kind of worked for the city this past summer, and he said he'd be interested in doing a little bit more, and it works perfect with his schedule. We had a few extra hours just based upon what he is allowed to work as a retired person from the state of Wisconsin. We have the individual that is also cleaning at the Enrichment Center, Misty. She's going to come here and clean our floors every morning. That's perfect timing because the snow is coming. She started on Monday and she's doing a fantastic job, so that's working out really well. Our technical processing coordinator was our cataloger. She is Faith Martinson. She will be retiring January 10th. We are going to start interviews this next week. I'm hoping to have somebody in place. We have two in-house individuals that have applied. It does require that they have a bachelor's degree with some experience. But we have a couple individuals on staff, so we'll start interviewing next week and we'll see where it goes from there. So excited about it. It's always exciting, and I like giving current staff the opportunity to move up, and so I enjoy that part of things. Our big project report, so it's all been voted on, and we're going to get the ball rolling on that. I spoke with the sales rep yesterday. He said once he got approval for that, he would get the order in for the gate and get that in. That'll show up then sometime after the first of the year. Our holiday cards out to donors went out. A little bit of money coming in here and there. and we appreciate all the donations. Those donations go towards all of the programming, all the materials, all of the extras that we can offer to the community members, and we appreciate that tremendously. Last but certainly not least, I would like to wish everybody a happy holiday, whatever that may be, whatever that entails for you. Please enjoy with your family and friends. You know, try to enjoy the weather. I will. I love the snow, just not the cold driving part of it all. But, so thank you to everyone for all of your time, communications here. It is truly appreciated, all that you do. Thank you.
And I want to ditto, thank you for everything all this last year, and, I think, you guys need to be congratulated that we've never, this last year now, had a meeting that didn't have a quorum. And I think that's saying something for our group, it's all volunteers, thanks, We don't all make them at the same time, but, right? Some of us don't make it all the time.
That's okay.
And so, it's worthwhile thanking everybody, so, that, and Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn, right?
Motion to adjourn,
Yeah, better do that.
Motion made, second to adjourn, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.